History Channel.
What is going on, wrestling fans? It's IC4. Welcome back to the channel. On today's edition, we're bringing back a familiar face. It's Robert Stone. How are you doing today?
I feel like I'm almost like a co-host of your show now. This is like third time in 6 months, maybe.
Yes. I
It's
think
all right.
if you're pitching this, I'm into it, man. All right,
I love it.
I have a history wrestling channel going on. I think we could bring you in, get your historic facts about being attacked, dressed as a wrestler once on the highway. We have so much to talk about, though.
You're good.
Yes. Today, though, as we're recording, it's actually Eddie Guerrero's birthday, which is amazing because we're still celebrating Eddie Guerrero's work in the ring. We're still seeing spots that we use from him. What makes Eddie Guerrero so special, you think, that wrestling fans still are celebrating his birthday?
Well, I think just when you hear wrestlers that have been in locker rooms with him before or wrestlers that have wrestled him before, they just always have great stories about how helpful he was in the ring, how great he was in the ring. Even at that, there are guys from that time frame that I guess I was around or got to know, but I've been in a few locker rooms with him once when I was like an extra when I was really young, but I never really got to chat with them, or I certainly was never in the ring with them. So I can't speak on that. But I think it's just, when you have a great rep and you added a lot to this industry, like, why wouldn't you still be talked about? How old would he have been? How old would he have been today?
I believe 58 would be how old he'd be. So it's
wild. Yeah.
It is wild.
I just saw Chavo a week or two ago, and he was talking about him. He always at some point brings him up. But I wonder if he would have still been wrestling, Chavo's still going.
Man, imagine. Well, it's weird because lately, the past couple of days, AI video has been popping up everywhere with like Tupac showing up on Raw and the Attitude Era. And one was Eddie Guerrero, I think, being a car salesman. It was very strange and weird. And I just thought to myself, like, is this the path we're going down? We're like, well, we can't have Eddie Guerrero because he's not alive. Well, let's AI the crap out of him and have him fight Damian Priest on an episode of SmackDown on USA. Like, is that the path we seem to be going down?
I mean, 2025, where are we going to be in 2035? That's the question.
WrestleMania on the moon, I believe, was the...
Yeah.
I believe that's the goal, though. The goal this weekend, though, is to watch WWE Crown Jewel. You can watch it in so many different places right now with ESPN involved. But Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins is the match. Everyone is trying to figure out who is going to win. Vegas odds for you personally. Who do you got? Cody or Seth?
Cody. How do you not go with? Yeah, how do you not go with Cody in a match like that? It's just, I think when I hear Cody's in a match, you just kind of always go with Cody. I don't know. I think that's who my money would be on. I don't know if I have a good enough reason to give you, but I'm just picking Cody.
All right. Wow. All right. Well, because he's got a good track record, at least on television, against Seth Rollins in matches, because the time when he took off his robe and showed that he was bruised from head to toe on his pectoral muscle, like that to me was one of those moments where I don't think I'm supposed to, as a kid, when your parents are telling you, hey, don't watch certain things, you see a bruise like that, you're thinking, me and my friends shouldn't do this in our backyard on our trampoline anymore.
Bodies aren't supposed to look like that. Like that color on my skin you're not supposed to see purple.
No.
Yeah.
No, just regular wrinkled skin. That's all I want. But either way. But also coming up, you have Evolve, a huge event, October 15th on Tubi. Now, tell me why this event is so much bigger than the rest of the weekly episodes we have.
It's the first ever official Tubi special of Evolve, but both championships are being defended in one night. Callie Armstrong's defending her Evolve Women's Championship against Kendall Gray. And Jackson Drake is defending his Evolve championship against Bryce Donovan. So both champions have been defended, but never in the same night. Plus a bull rope match, Brooks Jensen against Tate Wilder. I mean, bull rope matches are few and far between, nowadays. So I think that's going to be a vicious, it's a dangerous match as it is. And I think they're going to leave it all in the ring for this one. And it's crazy because we had our first interview as Evolve was debuting, and now we're already at our first special. And you think back to even the first ever Evolve show, the OG Evolve was in January 2010 in Rahway, New Jersey at the Rec Center. It's, smaller venue. And to think 15 years later, they're having this massive special on Tubi for the world to see. Just how far the name Evolve has come in wrestling is wild.
It is pretty wild. And you brought up, I want to bring up the bull rope match for a second because I remember when Steve Carino fought Dusty Rhodes on an ECW event once.
Living dangerously. Yep.
2000?
I believe 2000, and Steve Carino was there was a lot of red on his face in
Yes,
that match.
the king of old school, I believe, and that was one of those great bull rope matches. Obviously, there have been huge bull rope matches in the past, you know, Roddy Piper, Greg Valentine, other things like that. But this, the Dusty Rhodes Carino one, I always bring up because anytime I get to go to events where they have tryouts and Steve Carino's there, I always want to be like, excuse me, sir. Remember that time you were bleeding forever on your face? Do you remember that? Like, I feel like Chris Farley sometimes when I talk to wrestlers, like, remember that time you did that cool thing?
That was that in Jersey at Asbury Park? Maybe, or am I wrong?
Oh,
I could be wrong. I might be wrong. One Living Dangerously was in Asbury Park. I don't
possibly.
remember if it was that year, but I've spoke to him about that match also. I brought it up to him
Oh,
too.
good, good. All right, you've done it
You're
for
not
me.
the
All right.
only one. Yeah.
Every time I see him, I'm like, oh man, I can't believe that's the king of old school, Steve Carino. And then you got, you know, Prince Albert, Matt Bloom there too. So it's always just funny when you see certain people like, I remember that person is A Train, and now they're training in today's future with NXT stars every single week. And you know, NXT and TNA working together. We talked about this before, but this weekend I will be attending live Bound for Glory, where NXT wrestlers will be involved with the biggest event of TNA wrestling, Bound for Glory. Now there is a battle royal. You know, call your shot. 20 men, 20 women, come on in. I think we need Robbie E to make an appearance inside this call your shot gauntlet. Is this possible?
You know, AIP, okay, anything is possible. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, can you imagine just the hair spiked up, overly spray tan, the oil glistening on my I mean, come on. I still have my shades and the necklaces packed away somewhere. I can find them. Hey, you never know, right? It's wrestling. You never say never. Bound for Glory. Wow, it's going to be an awesome show. But how cool would that be? Can you imagine if the
Well,
boom hit?
if I'm there live and it happens and you don't win, you know, I've seen that sign, you know, if John Cena wins, we riot. Well, if Robbie doesn't win, Steve Fall riots.
Hey, I better start just in case I get the call. I better start doing push-ups now. I gotta like.
That will
Hey,
that will be
I've won tag team championship gold at Bound for Glory before. So San Diego 2013. So I mean, hey, I have a history with BFG.
you also won the Turkey Bowl, I believe, in TNA as well.
Well,
So
let's not talk about that. Those
okay. That's not on the table. I didn't get the notes that I wasn't allowed to ask that question. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. PR, I'm so sorry about the Turkey Bowl comment. Coming up though, also is John Cena's last match. He's only got a few more appearances left. He'll be in the Boston Garden, Madison Square Garden. You know, we have Survivor Series, Crown Jewel, but also Washington. Last time, nobody knows who John Cena is going to take on in his last encounter in the WWE rings. Now, if you had the books in your hand, if you're putting this story together, who is John Cena fighting and why is the reason?
Oh man, I'm the wrong guy for these
You're
questions. Dude,
not the wrong guy. You're
this
here.
these whole John Cena the whole John Cena thing has been amazing for the past year, and I've kind of like taken the choice to as opposed to because I feel like everyone's been overthinking who his opponents are going to be, and I kind of wanted to like take a step back and almost just enjoy the past year as a fan of it
Mm-hmm.
and watch it and kind of see what happens. So I haven't really been. I know a lot of people have been so excited for the AJ Styles and like even that everyone was like it should be AJ for this match, and I just wasn't thinking about it much because I want to just sit back, be entertained, enjoy it, and that's what I'm doing. So I say I'm the wrong guy for it just because I haven't put thought into it like that. I just want to watch it, be surprised, and see what happens, like everybody else. Well, who do you think?
Well, thanks for politicking your answer.
Well, who do you think?
Who would I want and who would I
Yeah. Well,
think are
who do you
completely
want?
different?
Okay, who would you want?
Well, unfortunately, one of those people doesn't work there anymore. So I would have to go with someone from his past. That's I don't want to say names, but the thing with this is I think someone from the past should be wrestling him, not someone new fighting him, because what we're looking for is like the nostalgia tour that we are on. I was in St. Louis when Randy Orton fought John Cena. I was there for CM Punk versus John Cena. That was like a nostalgia running wild inside my veins. And so I think that's what people want and people are looking for. They're not looking for, hey, it's this new person taking on John Cena. That's my personal opinion. That's how I feel. But is that how you feel? Is it, without saying names, I guess, is it you want a nostalgia tour, or this was, it didn't matter what happened, it's John Cena's last year, let's all enjoy it?
Honestly, it's John Cena's last tour. Let's all enjoy it. And I know that's not the answer you want, but it's really how I feel. You know?
No. It makes sense. I do understand. There's lots of rumors. People really want a gauntlet match so he can fight all these wrestlers in a row, where we get John Cena versus 5 people. So if you didn't get your dream AJ Styles match, you're going to get the other 4 or 5 that you never ever will receive.
Well, and then if you're going through his past, I mean, one of them could be Bull Buchanan, who he's with originally. I mean, you could list anyone who's been with him on the, right? I mean,
good God.
Speaking of Bull Buchanan, his son, Brooks Jensen, is in that bull rope match on Evolve this Wednesday on Succession. So,
hopefully B Squared will be there.
He'll be supporting him from home.
Of course. Now, one thing I keep seeing online is TV shows, when they have long seasons or short seasons, people get all upset. But with WWE, there is no off season. Do you, as a wrestler, performer, do you feel like sometimes there should be just a grace period of WrestleMania happened, that's a season finale, let's not have a Raw the next night. Let's pause and come back a month later, too. So we're all getting jazzed up, like movies, Marvel, Star Wars. You don't have them every single day. You have them spread apart.
No, and I think it's just only because I don't know, it's the only thing I've ever known, that every wrestling fan's ever known. It's always been like that.
Right.
So I think to take that away, I think will almost make people just, like, okay, of course they'll want it more when you don't have something you want it more, but you want it every week. And like the example you use, if WrestleMania happened and the next night there wasn't Raw, I mean, that Raw is, one of the most exciting Raws of the year that people look forward to. So after the big shows, when you're saying it could potentially end and there be a break, I think those next episodes of Raw and SmackDown are the ones that everybody wants to see the most. The fallout from it. And so, no, because I feel like just that would be weird. What would everyone do on Monday night and Friday night?
Well, you can have Raw do, a season, then SmackDown can come right after that season. You have different characters, different stories, all prepped and prepared. That's how it'd be interesting. It'd be very odd. I agree. Very odd.
If the arenas are still being filled every week and the people are still wanting to watch, think with what works.
True. I agree. Listen, I've been watching since I was a little kid, so there is no off season for WWE.
That was a great
fans.
question. Yeah, no, that's a cool thought. And I'm curious actually to see what most people would say about that. But if you're a true wrestling fan, I think you're just going to say, no, why would I want to have less wrestling?
You're right. But also they'd be like, as you know, you're on the internet with this half it would be like, that's a great idea. Give someone a rest. The other half is like, how dare you take this away from me? And so it's really all up to you, I guess, on that point. I have some rapid fire questions for you. Here we go. Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee.
Oh, early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Theme song you wish was yours for entrance music?
Shawn Michaels.
Are you gonna do the dance too?
I mean, I could.
And the chaps.
I would pull that off. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. You already have the gear ready for Robbie. So
yeah.
First WWE match you ever watched?
Man, I only the first. I just know the first match I ever watched was Dan Spivey versus Sting, Sunday main event. The 605 show. That was the first ever match I remember seeing because my brother was watching, and it was WCW. So that was just the first wrestling match I ever remember seeing was Sting versus Dan Spivey.
Wow. And your dream tag team partner?
Dream tag team partner? I mean, honestly, it was same with the music. He's my favorite growing up. It would probably be Shawn Michaels.
So then what is it like for you being around him as a colleague and employee? Like, it must be, I would think, mind-boggling because you're obviously at work, you're doing work, but also you're like, oh my God, that's Shawn Michaels over there.
Yeah, no, you are. But I mean, it's been so many years now when you work with someone so closely for so long. Eventually, every few months you do have to say to yourself, that is like Shawn Michaels that I just had a conversation with. You don't get me wrong, you get lost in it and you forget because, you're at work. You're it's a busy day. You're talking to someone about important things. You
Right.
forget who it is that you're actually talking to. But I do remind myself every now and then how cool it is to be, hand in hand and talking to him. And he's taught me so much, and his mind for wrestling and philosophy, obviously, it's great. And even I've heard him at times speak highly of me, which has been, amazing to hear. So it's very fulfilling.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah, he this is going to sound like a little pathetic for me, but well, we used to do NXT Zoom calls monthly, and I always had my kids behind me, and so finally, after like 6 of them, he would stop noticing this one guy keeps having babies with him all the time. I'd be like, "Yeah, Sean, about NXT Halloween Havoc this Sunday. What do you think?" And eventually, I saw him in a hallway once. He's like, and half my brain is like, "Don't say anything, act professional." The other half is like, "Oh my God, that's Shawn Michaels." And when I go, "Hey, I just want to," he goes, "Oh, hey, Steve, how are you?" And I'm like, I think it was one of those moments of oh, this is supposed to be a professional environment, but yet I have fanned out of my mind seeing Shawn Michaels here, which was great. It was a nice moment.
Well, about give or take about 2 years ago, my kids came with me to an NXT show. They came during the day my wife brought them, and they were out by where the ring was, where the ring is during some rehearsal stuff, and they just again they don't really at this point they're 5 or 6, they don't know who anyone is, or so they go right up to Shawn Michaels because he's there with a headset on, and they just go up to him and they just go, "Who are you?" right to him, and I'm just like right there, and I'm just like whatever. And Shawn goes about 1 inch from their face and just goes, "I'm the boss." I think that day they questioned CM Punk. They asked him who he was and why he was
Wow.
here. There was someone else they went up to also, just going around like they own the place, just like questioning who these big stars are. So it is what it is.
It is, yeah. Kids will say the darnest things. And
Yeah.
the last question before we wrap this up, what's the best piece of advice that you've gotten from a WWE veteran backstage?
A good one too. I think just the best piece of advice, and I think this is something that I would give to someone too if I talk to him now, is just like it's not always about you. Like you're a part of this massive show, you're a part of this massive company, but you can't get caught up in forgetting that you are just a part of it. Not everyone is the main character in every movie or every TV
Mhm.
show at every time. You just got to stay level headed, appreciate that you're here, and just realize that again, you are helping the show. You're not always the show. Sometimes you're just a part of it and helping it. And I think if you could have that mindset, you can really enjoy your career, and not get frustrated with anything.
Do you remember who said that to you?
I don't, but I
Yeah.
just know that I just know that's something that someone told me early on because right from there it was a click for me, and then I used it to tell a lot of people the same thing, and I can't remember who said it to me. And not that it's this secret or anything. I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of people say that and have that
Yeah.
same mentality. To me, it's common sense, but yeah, no, man, I can't.
We'll just say it's Shawn Michaels so you can save grace with your kids insulting them. Uh,
Exactly. There you go.
well, there you go. Again, WWE Evolve next week on Tubi, October 15th. Huge event, all the championships, 2 of them on the line. Bull rope match. That's exciting. Of course, this Saturday is Crown Jewel. Then you have Raw, you have NXT, you have SmackDown, you Evolve, and then Bound for Glory is also this weekend, which I'll be there live. And it's going to be
Hey, and
a
that's not
blast.
October 25th, Halloween Havoc. Also, it's
Oh,
coming out.
I'm gonna have to get dressed as Robbie
There
E.
you go.
Boom.
Perfect.
My kids will, they'll say to me? Who do you
What
think
kind of
you
hair?
are?
What kind of hair you got under that
You
hat?
don't
Can
want
you
to
pull
know.
off Robbie? All right.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm Steve Fall. He's Robbie. I'm never going to interview him again. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.